All right, guys, here we are, Rise Personal Training Podcast, Episode 3. I am Coach Ryan with the one and only
Coach Wyatt. How's it going, everyone?
All right, guys, today's episode, we wanted to go over a little bit of a better understanding of the training methodology that we do at Rise, why we do it, and help understand just why it's important overall for everybody.
Yeah, I feel like with our clients coming in, everything we do everything for a reason, okay? When they come in, what's the most common thing we see? We see an issue with their schedule, with their time. Their parents, they got multiple kids, they work a full-time job, they don't have 2 to 3 hours a day to train. And so, it's our job to create that perfect program that ensures, we tackle all of the aspects of fitness in, the allotted time that you give us.
Yeah, and so it's the main thing. It all comes down to time and then how many days a week that you have as far as what you can get done, right? So when we look at how you create a program, you guys sit down, we talk with each other, we figure out your goals, and then we have to figure out how much time and then figure out how we can fit that in with what we need to. So when you look at common things that are going on in gym and social media, everything's back to the 1970s. Bodybuilding's back, baby.
I say they want to hit chest on Monday, back on Tuesday, and then legs on a Wednesday, or they forget about that,
So what that means is a traditional bodybuilding style of training is every day has a different focus. You're focusing on, one day might be your arms, another might be your legs or your back or your shoulders or abs or whatever that might be. So this is for someone who has a very high amount of time and training frequency. They can train 5, 6, 7 days a week. So they try to split up what they're doing on that day, and they're going to hit it as hard as they can. And also, typically, they're also probably taking steroids because you can only handle so much volume to recover that quickly.
That is like a maximum volume. You have the schedule to do your 6 days a week, and so you have to fill every workout with like the most amount of lifts as possible. When you take our clients and you run them through one of those workouts, it's like, we do a leg day here, only legs. You're not walking for a week.
We see that all the time. People have gone to other gyms and other coaches or trainers, and I always ask, what they've done in the past. And like, oh yeah, we did. Again, it's usually a body part split for whatever reason. And now when you take someone who's, a busy mom or dad or adult, whoever that's over 40, and you only have a couple days to work out a week, it makes absolutely no sense that you're spending a day doing arm day or leg day or shoulder day or back day or whatever it's going to be. It's a complete waste of time.
Right.
And also, one, you're not going to recover from it. You're going to be so sore. Now you're going to be moving less on those other days. So now your activity is going to drop overall. Right. Also, it just doesn't make sense because when you take into consideration all these other little details, how we pair exercises with the recovery, the training stimulus, the response that you get, a lot of it makes absolutely no sense.
Right, and you take someone with, a knee injury or a leg injury, they show up on a leg day and you're like, we'll just hit our back today. And you're like, my upper body's fried from the chest day we did yesterday. And so it's just, you lose that individualization aspect that, when you're doing this full body split, that we're following. It's like we're able to tweak one exercise here and there based off of, your limitations and still get, a full workout in.
Yeah, and so we're looking at what we call kind of the minimum recommended dose, right? So, if you look at, you have a headache, you could take some, are we allowed to take Tylenol anymore?
Oh, right, I don't know about that, yeah.
You can still take some Tylenol or aspirin, whatever. So you take it, it'll say you should take, maybe 2 pills or whatever it's going to be. It's going to give you the minimum dosage. Now, you could take more. It doesn't necessarily mean that your headache's going to get better. And if you take more, now we can start having side effects, right? Another thing that maybe this might people understand a little bit more, when you drink a little bit too much, what's going to happen? You're gonna get hit. You're gonna be hungover and go through a fun time the next day.
Exactly, and it slows the next days up. So if you're way too sore, you're not gonna get as good of workouts those following days. And it comes back to the activity level when we're trying to maximize our activity each day in terms like how much time versus how much lifts we can do. If we're more sore and we're not moving, like by the end of the week, you're gonna be burning less calories because you're moving less, and the goal for most of our clients here is going to be, how do we burn more calories in, again, the given time that we have here.
Yeah, so the sets and reps that we do, the amount of exercises, the volume, all that we take in consideration. So you're going to be a little sore, which should be fine. But when you're too sore, that your body's just not ready for it. So we got to be careful on how much we do that. And also now we got to fit in so many different components of fitness into such a short period of time.
Right. So it's like we have to cover the mobility, flexibility, balance, power, strength, basic muscle hypertrophy. And so when we're trying to, tackle all of those aspects, it's really like okay, we have you for 2-3 hours, and we have to fit all of that into those 2 and 3 hours. So that's kind of how we prescribe the full body, and that's just, it's the best route, it's the best bang for your buck for our clients coming in with their schedule.
That's the whole thing, right? It's the most bang for your buck. We have to optimize the actual time that you have to get the most done. So when we're looking at, what's that program going to look like? For most people, probably want to start with some soft tissue, right? So really think about areas that you're sore, tender, tight. We want to get some blood flow, get that loosened a little bit up so we can start to work on your mobility. Let's get you moving better, because we know we're all sitting in a chair. We're barely getting moved around. All of you guys are tight. Your shoulders are tight, hips, low back. So we want to hit all of those things that we can to get you moving better, so we can get you training better throughout the workout. And then we'll get you into your warm-up.
Right.
Let's go through some of those movements, to get you prepared and loosened up better for your workout. And then what are we going into next?
After the warm-ups, we'll start with our power and core. That's going to be our power, our fast movement, our jumps, our slams, paired with a core, our abs, and it's so important that we get the stability in the core for, again, our clients that are sitting all day. They lose their hip and core stability, which throws off all their lifts. You get the back pain, you get all the lifts, kind of the power output's decreasing because of it, or it's limiting you there.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is really cool is there was a study talking about one of the first aspects to go is as we age is power, right? And again, don't quote me, I don't yell at me, I'll have to find it. But it's something where if you start implementing power training, and power just means we're trying to move quickly, whether it's something like a jump, a slam, a throw, a sandbag clean, whatever it's going to be, we're trying to move a different weight as powerful and explosive and quickly as we can. When we start doing that, it's people that are untrained. So you take like a 60-year-old person who hasn't trained and an untrained 20-year-old, and their power output can be pretty equivalent, I believe, right? So it starts to fade, but it can also come back really quickly.
Right.
And the best thing to think about is, have you ever stepped off a stair or something, or you thought there was an extra step and you kind of missed and you almost fell, right? If you don't have the ability to react and stop and brake and decelerate yourself, right? What happens when we get older?
Right. It's
they
the
fall.
fall.
And
then
then
I think the key word there is brake and decelerate.
Yeah.
Because everyone always thinks, I'll just get, you weight train, you get your muscles bigger, you'll absorb the impact, your bones will be stronger. But it's we're not getting the muscles bigger so, an older person can fall and absorb the blow. It's no.
right, just good.
Just
Bicep save me.
Yeah. It's no, you need the reaction. You have to, just because you have the muscles doesn't mean your joints, your ligaments can decelerate you. They can absorb the force and then slow it down, and then you can catch yourself. Because if you're unable to do that, exactly like you said, you're going to try to catch yourself, fall, and then ultimately we know what happens when you fall. You'll break something, and then you end up in the hospital. Where for older people, it's
yeah. There's so many. Again, it's not. We're just don't be paranoid that everyone's going to fall and die. But there's so many other things, right? When we're looking at power training specifically, it's it's also your if we're looking at bone density, right? And again, people are getting weaker bones, which also goes back to falling, and then everyone's going to die. So at the PSA, don't fall, you will die. No,
just
don't. Hopefully
power.
Not. Again, it's also metabolically demanding, right? It takes a lot of energy. If you do 5 squat jumps or do 5 hard slams, or whatever, all of a sudden your heart rate's up. You're like, oh shit, right? So it's just getting your body to move weights, move quicker, and a lot of great health benefits. We'll go into the core like you're talking about, not just abs. I know abs. Everyone understands abs for core, but it's your body's ability to stabilize so we can move the arms and legs. And then we go into our strength training, right? Our main movements.
That's our bigger movements, our bigger typically compound movements. We do equally perform, one arm or unilateral as well as both arm or both legs bilateral. Both are just as important. Very common. People come in with.
So let's just give them a rundown. What are those movement patterns that we're hitting?
Okay, so we have your big movements. Your upper horizontal push. Your pushes. Your horizontal pulls. You have your lower body. You have your squats. You have your deadlifts. And then you have your overheads, overhead push, overhead pull. Those are the main primary bigger lifts or bigger movement categories we'll be covering, with our exercises.
Each of those workouts, we'll usually hit all 4, right? Upper body push and pull, lower body push and pull. When you do those 4 and you hit some power and core, you are hitting a full body strength training session, right? We're not going to miss any muscles. We're going to hit everything that we need to. And then at the end of the workout, we'll go into, a little bit of metabolic conditioning. We want to get that heart rate up. Yes, walking is great. Everyone needs to go walk and move more, but we need to at least try to get that heart rate up, let it recover, get it up again, back and forth. We're just so many benefits that we're going to get from that we're not getting from people
and then
on a day-to-day basis.
We have you for an hour, and it's like we're not going to have you come in, go on the bike for 30 minutes, and then do lifting for 30 minutes. It's like you can do the walking, you can do the treadmill, everything outside of the gym. Here, the main focus is, again, we get the weights done, and then when we are doing our cardio, it's much more than just that, like slowly elevating the heart rates, getting the heart rate going, keeping it a little elevated, and then that only takes the Tabata is only going to be a few minutes at a time, 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Yeah, depending on the type of finisher we're doing. So it's quick, effective, it's right to the point. And we're hitting all of the components that we need to in a 50-minute, hour max session. So it's just the most bang for your buck that we can get to, and that's really what's just going to get people, the best results in the shortest amount of time.
Right.
Now, if you do have additional time, that's when you can start changing up your thing, right? So the whole idea of this, I like almost the hierarchy of what time do we have and what should we do. If you have 2 to 3 hours a week, it should be 100% full body strength training, exactly like what we're doing. Now, when you start having more time available, you can change up the training split. You can go do activities you like to do.
Right. That burns the most calories,
Yeah, but even just to get people moving, because we're so sedentary now, and we'll talk about the whole sedentary lifestyle.
Oh, yeah, that's
that was an episode 2.
That could be our next topic.
Okay, yeah, it will come up. We'll just talk about that's the problem. We just got to get up. We got to get moving more. But again, when you only have 2 or 3 hours a week, full body strength training is absolutely the way to go.
And just make sure you're spacing those out evenly. We don't want to do a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday full body. If that's what your schedule allows, it's what it allows. But you'll get the most recovery and the best results if you're able to at least have a day in between those training sessions.
Yeah, trying to split them apart. And then when we do have it, our program allows that it makes sense that they're not overlapping so many of the same movements. We don't have too many people. Maybe Elisa. Elisa does 3 days in a row sometimes. She's a nurse.
But I would say nurses have that schedule of just get in when you can.
But otherwise, everyone's pretty spaced out. I think that's about it for today.
Right, yeah, sounds.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week, episode 4.
Episode 4. All right, catch you guys later.
Thank you.